Hello. there's a square on my face right now, apparently. Hang on, I'm just tweeting out the stream. Uh, Game week 25. It's Game week 25, right? Game week 25. Okay. Hello. Let's remove this square from my face. We don't need this. We don't need this. Hello, everyone. How are we all today? I hope we're all well. It is Game Week 25 deadline day and a Friday deadline, no less. I hope you guys have not told your colleagues, your mini league rivals, your friends about this this Friday deadline in hopes that they will forget. What shirt is this? Well, this, my friend, is a Costa Rica special. Yeah, it was going to be the Costa Rica World Cup shirt for this year. But yeah, that's what we're rocking today. Always rocking a new shirt. It's gotta be done. The jersey collection continues to spiral, really out of control. I mean, it's not. They're not just on the rail anymore. I mean, I'm not going to show this part of the room because it's a mess, but it's just piles and piles of football shirts at this point. Really quite crazy. There is organisation to the madness though. There really is. But regardless, hello everyone. Hello everyone. I need to make a transfer today. I don't know about you guys, but I've not quite looked in my transfers, but that will be done in today's stream. What's my favorite shirt? Oh, it's got to be that one. That's got to be my favorite shirt. Like, that's why it's there, to be honest. That's why it's there, to be honest. But yeah, let me catch you guys up on where I am at in terms of my team. Just find the tab and get that correct and zoom out a little bit so it's as clear as day. Okay, right. This, my friends, is where we're at. Well, as you'll see in a second. There we go. Right. So, haven't made the Saka transfer yet. He will be going for Declan Rice. Declan Rice will be coming in, and that'll be me done because I only have one free transfer, so I'm not going to go too crazy with it this week, and there's not really much point. And I'm pretty happy to just go fairly straightforward this week. Kong with a super chat, nice and early in the stream today. Morning, Dan. Thoughts on Gabriel captain? I think he's probably my second favorite after Bruno. I think there's like, for me, Bruno is my favorite captain, and I kind of have 3 second favorites, but maybe there's a little bit of a gap there. And the 3 second favorites are probably Gabriel, Ekatike, and Bowen. I'd maybe throw in and Burmo there as well. So yeah, something like that. Something like that is probably what I would do. If I'm looking for an alternative captain, which includes Gabriel. But honestly, if you have Bruno, is it the week to be silly? Is it the week to go differential? I don't know. I'm not thinking about Palmer. No, I'm not, Reese. I'm not thinking about Palmer, really. Still just not totally convinced by his minutes or indeed his performances. I know people said, oh, like the other week he got 2 assists, but I watched that game. The 2 assists were like pass to a teammate and they run all the way down the field and score from 40 yards. It's like sideways pass for the striker to score a wonder goal. So I don't know. I'm just not really seeing the vision with Palmer at the moment. His form has just not been there. And to be honest, I'm probably one of the people who really, I'm not buying the hype on Chelsea players this week. I mean, I'm an Enzo owner, and honestly, once Rice is in this midfield, I'm probably expecting Enzo to probably score the least amount of points of any of my attackers because Wolves away, I just don't think this is an amazing fixture for anyone. You know, let alone a Chelsea team that's just played kind of midweek and played loads of games recently. So I don't know, man. I don't know. FPL Joe says people saw a green FOTMob score on Palmer in that game and assumed 2024 Palmer was back. This is what I'm saying. It's nostalgia, isn't it? It's a little bit nostalgia. Palmer's just not in the right moment. He needs to have his surgery. Probably will happen after the World Cup, and then hopefully he can get back to his best. But for right now, you know, we're talking about Saka being bad value for money. Palmer is just another Saka. as far as I'm concerned, and I don't really want to get trapped there. And I don't think Wolves have really improved defensively. Like, look through the recent Wolves games, and we'll just show you. We'll just show you the recent Wolves results. Actually, should we just go on FOTMob? Let's do it on FOTMob. Speaking of FOTMob, so they're not actually really conceding that many goals, and indeed that many chances either. So we can go through some of their form. Let me just go back a page. It's going to take us all the way back. All right, so let's look through these. So 2 goals conceded to Bournemouth, 2 to Man City. Not too surprising. They're 2 good attacks. 0-0 against Newcastle. 1 goal conceded to Everton, none to West Ham, 1 to Manchester United, 2 to Liverpool, 2 to Brentford, 2 to Arsenal. It's not really since the 8th of December, which is 2 months ago, that Wolves have actually got battered by anyone. Like, I'm not saying they're a good team, like, they're not. But, like, I think a lot of people look at Wolves at the bottom of the table and think, oh, this Wolves side is... I've got Opta as well. They look at this Wolves side at the bottom of the table and assume like this is the best fixture a team can possibly have right now, and it's just not. I think there are several teams I'd rather play as an attacker right now than Wolves. Let's just go 10 game week data on defensive on Fantasy Football Hub. We'll zoom in a little bit. And to kind of look at the non-penalty expected goals allowed, non-penalty goals against. Wolves are here 12.3. So basically conceding just over 1 XG non-penalty per game. I'm not saying this is a bad fixture. It's not a bad fixture. It's a good fixture, but it's not Burnley. I think Burnley are worse. I think Bournemouth are worse. I think I'd rather play. Fulham at home would be a better fixture than Wolves away. Everton at home would be a better fixture than Wolves away. Sunderland at home is a better fixture than Wolves away. Crystal Palace at home is better than Wolves away. Brighton home or away is better. West Ham home or away is probably better. Leeds home or away is probably better. So I think it's an okay fixture, but is it so good that, like I'm seeing people go, okay, we need to get Palmer, we need to get Joao Pedro. This is Wolves. This is an amazing fixture. Is it? It's all right. It's all right. But Joao Pedro, captain, like I honestly, I think the only reason we're seeing, this picture, a picture of Joao Pedro being brought in by over 700,000 managers. This will hit 750,000 by the time we get to deadline. Easy. Maybe even 800. The only reason we're seeing so many people buy Joao Pedro, I mean, obviously because he scored points recently, that always helps. But because people see Wolves as the bottom of the table and say, that is the fixture I want. I would be more inclined to captain a Chelsea player against, Leeds and Burnley. Not that you probably will, because obviously 26 is a double, but it's an okay game. Like, I don't have the same, FOMO on Joao Pedro as a lot of other people seem to have. Like, so many, looking through YouTube comments and stuff like that, a lot of people seem really, really keen to get Joao Pedro in kind of at any cost. And I just don't see the vision. Like, I think Ekatike is a better pick this week than Joao Pedro, for example. I think over the medium term, I think Thiago is a better pick than Joao Pedro. And the odds kind of reflect that as well. So these are the bookmaker odds. Rob T posted these yesterday. And, Joao Pedro, he is there. He's in the conversation. 0.38 projected goals there. But, like, we've got Ekatike, Raul, Watkins, Thiago, Evan Nilsson. If we're just looking at forwards, Wissa, Voltemada, Calvert-Lewin, Haaland, Gyökeres, all of these players are, have better odds this week. And I don't think that will be the same next week. I think Joao Pedro will have better goal-scoring odds in game week 26, but then maybe you say, okay, midweek, game week, is there some rotation risk? Maybe, maybe not. Can he still do some damage off the bench? Absolutely. Game week 27 against Burnley, amazing for Joao Pedro. Really like that as well. But this week, Oh, sorry, banged my mic. Yeah, it's like, yeah, he's all right. He's an okay pick. I'm not gonna break my team for him. Certainly not gonna captain him. Probably wouldn't even make my top 10 captains this week. To be honest, thumbnail says Gameweek 24. Oh, does it? Well, then that's unintentional. Wait, did I not make a new thumbnail? I thought I did. Thank you for that. That is actually useful. Oh yeah, I'm using last week's thumbnail for some reason. Let me resolve that because that is incorrect. Thank you for flagging that, Farhath. We're going to have a nice Bruno Fernandes on the thumbnail as well, not Joao Pedro. Speaking of, hey, maybe it was written in the stars there a little bit to talk about Joao Pedro. Will Haaland start? Yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't. I mean, it's like a pretty big game for Man City, or a must-win game. Every game's a must-win game, but you know, it's an enormous game for Manchester City, and I just cannot see them not playing their best striker. And I appreciate Marmoush has been in good form. Maybe there is a way to play both of those guys, but nah, surely let's be real. I don't see a reason why Haaland would be benched any more so than anyone else. Like, anyone could be benched in any game week. You just don't know. But Pep said he doesn't know if Haaland will start. Has Pep ever known if any of his players will start? Be interested to find the exact quote. What Pep Guardiola press conference. Actually, we'll find it on X, can't we? What's that Man City extra? So what have they said? Anton Semenyo stuff. What's the exact quote here? Lots of Anton Semenyo and Cherky, Mark Gay. By the way, even Mark Gahey, I think, is at some risk because Ruben Dias is back now, and John Stones is back in training. So Mark Gay, probably good for now, but you know, you never know when that rotation could begin. The only quote I saw on Haaland earlier was that Pep said like something like, "Oh, he's the best striker in the world" or something like that. Okay, so he said he doesn't know if Bernardo is available. I can't see anything about Haaland here. Oh, here we go. Whether Haaland automatically starts. Erling is the best striker in the world. I don't know. We'll decide tomorrow. Always I say Erling is the best. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I saw. That doesn't really suggest to me that he doesn't know if Haaland is available or anything like that. It's just like, I haven't picked my lineup yet. I'm not telling you my lineup. So, yeah, that's all that says to me. Yeah, Haaland starts. Like, just as likely as any other player. Not something I'm worried about. Should I start Lewis Potter? I mean, yeah, you could definitely play Lewis Potter. I think he could be interesting this week. Could be really interesting. Any update on Watkins? Yes. Yes, actually. He's going to be in the squad, apparently. Whether that means he's going to start or not is maybe a slightly different question, but it's looking positive. It's looking fairly optimistic on Watkins and his availability. So, yeah, I guess positive. I don't think I'd be selling necessarily. Should I sell Haaland? No. I mean, I'll answer all Haaland-related questions at once. Don't sell him, but don't captain him either. Like, I know people will want to sell him anyway. And if you really want to sell Haaland, who am I to stop you? Who am I to stop you? But it's not something that is even remotely entering my mind at all. Like, particularly if you're selling Saka. Like, you've just freed up a whole bunch of money by selling Saka. Do you really need to free up even more money by selling Haaland? What are you even going to spend the money on? like, as bad as you think Haaland might be, he's no worse than, I don't know, whoever you'd replace him with. He's better than Joao Pedro. He's better than Thiago. Right now, I don't know. Ekatike. Salah. I mean, you could sell Haaland to get Salah in, but I feel like the other kind of meta point is, and Haaland and Salah, I don't really see there being too much difference in their form, particularly right now. There's far more midfielders to go for right now than there are forwards. Like, I'm bringing in Rice this week, and I'm thinking, oh man, how am I going to get in Verts? How am I going to get in Rodgers? How am I going to get in Wilson? Maybe Dango at Brentford in a couple of weeks too. I'm looking at so many different midfielders, and I only have 5 slots, and I'm thinking, man, this is frustrating. So how are you going to fit in Salah in there as well? I have no idea. And then you've got players like Anderson and Enzo who are performing well at a cheap price. Got cheap defenders doing very well. Where are you going to spend the money? Bruno G starts. I don't know. It's looking reasonably positive. He has been in training, and I think because Lewis Miley is unavailable, I think that does improve Bruno G's chances. So I will say maybe a cautious yes. Maybe. Yes, Comedy Addict, we did already discuss it. I'm sure we'll talk about it again later. But what do I think of Pep's comments on Haaland? I feel absolutely nothing. I'm reading absolutely nothing into it whatsoever. All we could gather from that is that Pep doesn't know. Well, Pep is unwilling to reveal what his starting lineup is going to be, and he's undecided, and he's going to decide tomorrow because the game is on Sunday. So why would he have decided his lineup today for 100%? Of course he hasn't. So all the Pep has done is state the obvious and refuse to reveal who he's starting on Sunday, and why would he give up that tactical advantage? Why would he imagine giving a definitive answer on whether Erling Haaland will start or not 2 days before a game of football against Liverpool, when Liverpool would have all ways to prepare in different ways for the game, depending on whether, if they had definitive information of whether Haaland is or isn't starting. Would be ridiculous for Pep Guardiola to answer in any other way than the way in which he did answer. It would be ridiculous. So yeah, no read into it whatsoever. None. None at all. What have we got here in the chat then? I went Saka to Rodgers comments. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Rodgers maybe not in the best form right now, but I think that can pick up soon. Wildcard draft. The best thing to do about wildcard is to probably not wildcard. Yeah. Jamie's just sold Rodgers for Enzo. Yeah, a lot of people selling Rodgers, actually. I saw that. Like, most transfers out for this round. Rodgers is in, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's going to be a lot of regret for some players here. Thiago, I want people to keep selling Thiago because I want his price to keep dropping so I can buy him in 27 or 28, because I am going to be buying Thiago and I'm going to enjoy owning Thiago as well. So people want to keep selling him, go for it. Reduce his ownership, reduce his price. We will enjoy it. Foden makes sense. I think Saka makes sense. I think Bruno G makes sense as a sell. Watkins, kind of on the fence on that one. Rodgers, I don't get him as a sell. These are good fixtures. Bournemouth, Brighton, Leeds, Wolves. Chelsea at home is decent. Man United is tough. West Ham at home is nice. So there's lots of really nice fixtures here. All the way up until, you can argue to say to the end of the season, really. So yeah, I think there will be some Thiago selling regret, unless people buy him back in after, of course. I think there'll be some Rodgers selling regret. I think there'll be some Haaland selling regret. It's not the worst week for Calvert-Lewin either at home against Forest. You could do worse. And Declan Rice being sold, I mean, I've been keeping an eye. The reason I haven't made an early transfer this game week is because there's just been absolutely no risk of Declan Rice rising in price, because people see his blanks recently and assume that he's terrible now. Jeremy says, I loved Rodgers at 5.5 million. I loved him at 5 million, man. Crazy. What a crazy buy he was. Is DCL a buy or a sell? It's neither. He's a don't buy, don't sell. If you have him, keep him. If you don't have him, don't buy him. Is Strand Larson going to start? That's a good question. I'm struggling to answer that one. It's a coin toss situation, I think. Should I buy Timber? I would feel reasonably confident on Timber. I have seen a few questions regarding Timber. So the latest on Urian Timber is that he has indeed been out of training this week. So he didn't train on, was it Wednesday or Thursday? He didn't train. And presumably that is just load management, because apparently there's no injury there or anything like that. So there's no injury problem with Joao Pedro, which is with Urian Timber. So yeah, I think it should be fine. It's certainly fine to start him if you're still a little bit worried. And I think there is every chance that there is a rotation, a resting for Timber this game week. There's a small chance, a chance that is large enough to take note of, but it's far more likely that he starts than doesn't start, I think, still. So I'm not worried about Timber's minutes necessarily. But I think if you're trying to look for a tiebreaker of whether you should buy Timber or Rice, if it's a head-to-head between Timber and Rice, who you're going to buy, maybe that can be a tiebreaker. But yeah, maybe that depends on your team structure and other things. What are your thoughts on Cherky? I mean, you probably wouldn't want him for this game week against Liverpool. There's going to be some rotation risk with a midweek game week as well. I think I'd probably be looking towards selling him if I had him, just because I don't think he's worth the trouble. Why does no one talk about Saliba? Because he doesn't really do anything. He doesn't get defensive contributions. He doesn't take shots. He has no creativity. He's, kind of capped. He doesn't get bonus points either. He's kind of capped at 6 points. So, just go for Raya. Just go for Raya. There's so many great DEFCON defenders who are cheap, or goal-scoring defenders as well. Bonus point magnets defenders that using one of your defender slots on Saliba, I don't know. If you're going to triple up on the Arsenal defense, I think the best way to do that is Raya, Gabriel, Timber, most likely. Because at least Timber does have some attacking threat, and that may have not been reflected in the points, but when you watch the games, you can see Timber is, and looking at the data as well, Timber's got some attacking underlying data, whereas it's just non-existent for Saliba. I'll show you. So let's go Arsenal defenders. We'll go full season. How many shots has each defender taken? So in 20 games this season, Saliba has taken 3 shots. That is monstrously low. He's taken 3 shots. He's got defensive contribution points once, and he's picked up 4 bonus points total. So he's a 6-point merchant. He really is. So yeah, if you think Calafiori is maybe a little risky for me, it's Timber and Gabriel really. These are the defenders we're looking at. I mean, Timber's shooting numbers here is pretty good throughout the season, and his key passer numbers are good as well. Oh, I say good. They're okay. They're okay. Free hit team. Oh, if you've got your free hit active right now, do not confirm it. Cancel it. however bad you think your team might be this week, surely it's not worth a free hit. Should we talk about some chips for a second here? Scott says he's due a 4th shot. Yeah, quite possibly is due a 4th shot. So what's that? That's 1 shot every like 8 games, something like that. 7, 8 games. That's wild. Lisa Snays with the super chat here. Timber in, Collins out, got Gabriel and Rice. I mean, yeah, Collins could potentially go. It depends what your other defenders are. The one thing about Collins that is worth noting, I do have Collins in my squad, is that he does look pretty good from game week 27, 28 onwards. So Brighton at home, very playable. Burnley away, you've got to play him. Argument to play him against Bournemouth, because I think that's a good DEFCON game. You're going to play him against Wolves, possibly going to play him against Leeds. If you're wildcarding in 32, maybe that is more motivation to sell, because some of his better games are after game week 32. But really, I think if you can hold off 2 weeks, there's a lot of very playable games for Collins. So it depends if you need something now or you need something kind of soon, I guess. Is Virgil a good pick? It's not great for this game week, I guess, but I would be happy to start him, I guess. Do we get a reason why he was on the bench last week? Yes, we did, Scott. We did. So basically, Collins had a minor training ground cut. He picked up a cut in training, I believe, and he needed stitches. And just because they didn't really want to disrupt the stitches too much, they put him on the bench and kind of went, we want your stitches to heal. We'll throw you on the pitch only if we desperately need you. And with 10 men and only 1 goal up, they ended up needing Collins to sub him on off the bench. But yeah, they were making an effort to not play Collins in that game because of his stitches. But yeah, just a minor thing. Anyone who's had stitches before will know that you need to kind of limit your movement for a couple of days maybe, and then after that you're pretty much fine. So no concern really about future minutes as far as Collins is concerned. Just one of those things, just one of those unfortunate things that can happen, and a minor unfortunate thing as well. So no biggie, no big deal. So I think he's fine to keep in that sense, and in the sense that the fixtures look good soon too, and he's really good for DEFCON. One of the best DEFCON defenders in the league. I think he's going to be a handy pick. A very handy pick. Should we do a captain poll? I want to get an early idea on what you guys are thinking about captaincy. Comedy Addict here says, "Damn mate, did you see Gordon go down holding his left leg and then limp off holding his right?" Oh no, I didn't see that. I assumed it was an actual injury. He is injured, isn't he? He's got it's a hamstring issue, isn't it? I did see the press conference notes earlier. Right, okay, we're going to do a captain poll. I'm not sure who to put in the poll. So, what I want you guys to do is just type in the chat who you're captaining, and I'll get an idea from that who are the most popular captains. And we'll throw the most popular ones in a poll, and then you guys can get to vote in. So, guys, if you wouldn't mind, throw in the chat who you're captaining this week. So, who we got? We've got Bruno Fernandes, of course. I haven't seen Haaland. João Pedro, maybe. Seems mostly Bruno. Might be a landslide, this one. Haaland, João Pedro I'm seeing, and Gabriel. Unless anyone else pops up. Someone's saying Rice. I'm not really seeing the vision on that one. A couple of people said in Burmo. Bruno's won. Oh, yeah. Oh, Bruno has won this poll without a shadow of a doubt. But I am interested to see who comes second. Right. So I put the question. The poll question is going to be, who is the best Game Week 26 captain? And just pick out of the options. If you think it's someone else, Fair enough. Just pick your favourite out of these 4. We can talk on and on and on about differential captains. But I don't think we really need to. Martinelli, because he looks like Dan. It's been a while since anyone said I look like Martinelli, to be fair. It's been a little while. Okay, but there we go. Polls in the chat now if you guys want to vote, and we probably know Bruno's won. I'm curious to see how many of you guys are going different, and if so, where are you going different? That's the big question. Hello here for FPL. Welcome. Verbruggen versus Dubravka. I think I probably back Dubravka. Sorry, Verbruggen. Like, trying to think realistically this week, who would I actually bench for Dubravka out of the main goalkeepers? Maybe this is a job for the bench list. I did want to save the bench list. I do try and save the bench list for as late as possible. But it would seem that I don't know. Let's set up a little bench list for us today. Right. Who would I not start this week? Richard. Okay, you know what? I'm going to leave this for now. I'm just going to do goalkeepers. Let's throw it on screen. So let's just do goalkeepers for now. And we'll try and figure out who would we actually bench ahead of Dubravka. I can't see a world in which West Ham don't score. So I'm not expecting a clean sheet in this game for Dubravka. So let's think about this logically. Obviously, you're going to play Raya. So we can put Raya at the top. Then you're going to play Verbruggen, I think. Crystal Palace is just it's a good fixture. You're going to play Pickford. Sorry, Sanchez and Pickford, actually. You're going to play Sanchez. You're going to play Pickford. Are you going to play Kelleher? That's where it gets a little questionable. That's close. Petrovic. Petrovic is maybe where it goes the other way. Does anyone have Donnarumma? Donnarumma, you probably bench this week. Super chat here from Taster says, "Hi Dan, 1 Pickford to Raya, Lafay to Anderson, or 2 Nunes." Darwin Nunes. Oh, right. Man City Nunes. Nunes to Timber, Lafay to Anderson, or 3 Pickford to Raya, Nunes to Hill, Lafay to Cunha. I don't think we need to make a triple transfer here. The most sensible one is probably Nunes to Timber, Lafay to Anderson. Because that way you're not adding a Game Week 31 blanker. Because Pickford is nice, because, you know, Pickford's perfectly playable in Game Week 31. Although if you have to Dubravka backup, Goalkeeper is pretty fine as well. Yeah, I think I would probably lean towards number 2. Although there's definitely an argument to say that number 1 is the safer bet. But I think I'd do number 2 out of those. Yeah, let's go with 2. Cool. All right. Other goalkeepers on here. You want Pope, you want Ruffs. So Ruffs goes to the bottom. There's no doubt about that. You're not going to want to play Ruffs or indeed any Sunderland player this week, really. And then Lamans was the other one I saw mentioned in the chat. We got Pickford on there already. Lamans, I think, is maybe a little bit better than some of these guys. I mean, probably better than Kelleher. So like that. Is that all of the goalkeepers you guys have? Surely no one has any others. Who is even missing from this list? Leno? If you have Leno, I'd play him this week. Probably above everyone other than Raya. I don't know. I don't know where I'd go. Pope. Oh, Pope. People have Pope. Yeah, okay. Pope is maybe somewhat questionable, but I think again, let's put him betwixt Lamans and Kelleher. I'd be happy with that. Vicario? People do not have Vicario in their FPL teams. I refuse to believe that. You're having me on. You're absolutely having me on. All right. Well, we'll leave that then for now because I did say I do want to save the bench list. I do want to save the bench list until a little later on in the stream. So give us 20 minutes. We'll talk about some other stuff, and then we'll be back, and we'll fill up the other side of the bench list. But for now, I think for goalkeeper wise, I think I'm reasonably happy with that as a priority order. That looks good to me. Yeah, happy days. Cool. Right. Let's talk a little bit about fixtures, guys. And this is my fixture calendar. Is that visible? It's fairly visible. Okay, let's try and get it to fit on screen nicely for you guys. So this is on Google Sheets. Those of you guys who are members of the channel at the starting 11 tier or above, you will have access to this calendar, and I will continue to update it as I see things changing. But I want to show you I want to give you the lowdown. In fact, I'm going to open it on here because I did tweet it as well. Open image in new tab, just so I'm not messing around with the cells and stuff. Okay, that's pretty nice. Yeah, that works pretty well. That pretty much fits in perfectly on screen as well. Cool. All right. So we have the double game week in 26. We all clear on that by now? Hopefully we are. Blank game week 31. So Arsenal are going to blank. Wolves are going to blank. And Crystal Palace and Man City might blank. Probably will blank. 95% chance will blank. There is still a chance that we see Man City and Crystal Palace still take part within game week 31. It would require Man City to be knocked out of the FA Cup. That's pretty much the only way that's going to happen. Unless also Man City get knocked out of the round of 16 in the Champions League. Again, don't know how likely that is. So it's pretty unlikely that the fixture will be rescheduled in there. Because not only did, City have to be knocked out of other competitions, and then the Premier League also need to decide we're going to move it there. So it requires two things to happen. So I don't think that's going to happen. But it could. We could see that fixture go back in. Then after that, we have double game week 33, which is going to be interesting. Currently, the most likely teams to double in 33 are going to be Crystal Palace and Man City, because they have multiple ways in which they could double in 33. But really, it's anyone's game, really. I mean, even I put Burnley and Liverpool as kind of unlikely to double in 33 at present, but that could also change. So they're probably the least, Burnley and Liverpool, probably the least likely teams to double in 33 right now. Still, they do have every chance, as does everyone else. So can't really narrow this down too much at the moment, but what we do have here is an idea of if these teams were to get a double game week, what those double game week fixtures would be, I guess. So, for example, if you want to go to Arsenal, if Arsenal were to have a double game week in 33, what would their double game week look like? Well, it would be Man City away and it would be Newcastle at home, which is a pretty rubbish double if we're totally honest. It's not ideal. I guess Arsenal, they can do anything. If Aston Villa were to get a double, a little bit nicer. Sunderland at home, Fulham away. If Brentford were to get a double, it would be Fulham and Man United, etc., etc., etc. The nicest looking potential doubles are Forest, who have a potential of Burnley and Sunderland, which could be really nice. Like, I feel like if we're looking for some double game week players around there, and if Forest were to get a double, I think players like Nico Williams, maybe Murillo, going to be on the cards. Probably Nico Williams. He's pretty cheap now, right? Spurs would have a pretty decent double there. Brighton and Wolves. West Ham would have Crystal Palace and Everton. Leeds would have a decent double. It's kind of unfortunate that some of the bigger teams wouldn't have the best of doubles. That is the only unfortunate thing. Chelsea, Man United at home, Brighton away. It's okay. Jeremy says, I might get Rodgers if Villa has that double. Yeah, I mean, if Villa get that double, then Rodgers is going to be very much on the cards, isn't he? Very much on the cards. But yeah, I think there are a lot of cheaper players who might have good double game weeks more so than the expensive players. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And then double game week 36, currently the most likely teams to get that double, in my opinion, are Burnley, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, and Man City. Those teams, I think, are the most likely to get a double game week 36 at this point. And that's what they kind of could potentially look like. Now, this 36, Brentford at home, Burnley away. That's for Man City, by the way. That is genuine triple captain territory. So whilst everyone is talking about Arsenal, Gabriel, triple captain 26 against Brentford and Wolves, I like it. I love it, in fact. Just be aware that we are potentially looking at Haaland against Brentford and Burnley as a double game week in game week 36. Now, the question mark there is, is Haaland going to be in form at that time? Is Haaland going to be regularly starting if City are, prioritizing other competitions? What is going to be the situation there? Are City going to be in other competitions, or is Haaland going to be, maybe nailed on for Premier League games? We don't know. It's so far in the future. Is Haaland even going to be fit? He could get injured before then. And then at that point, who are you triple captaining? Marmouche? Maybe. So there's a whole bunch of question marks around Game Week 36. It's not just whether that double game week will happen, but also what is the chances that Haaland is going to be a good captain, let alone triple captain at that moment? We don't know. So yeah, it's kind of a stick or twist situation. But that's the information there, and I wanted to share that with those of you guys who are interested in that kind of stuff. I know I am, but most people just want to know who to bench. I don't care what's happening in Game Week 36, Dan. Just tell me who to bench and shut up. Right, Sam L with the super chat here. Thank you so much, Sam. And Sam says, don't know whether to do Callagher to Raya or O'Reilly to Timber. All this doubt regarding Timber has put me off. Currently, have Rice and Gabriel. Well, I mean, I think you're certainly along the right lines if you're looking between those two players, or two transfers. Maybe I like O'Reilly to Timber more. I think if that's my team, I'm doing O'Reilly to Timber because Callagher is fine. He's a fine pick, and he is for some time now. O'Reilly is a kind of a problem area in your team anyway. So by doing the O'Reilly to Timber move, you're addressing a problem you already have in your team rather than just making a kind of a sideways move in many ways. So yeah, O'Reilly to Timber is what I would do because you deal with the O'Reilly issue. And I know, there's some doubt regarding Timber. There's a little bit of doubt. From everything I've been informed about, Timber isn't injured. He's not injured. There may be some load management. Maybe that extends into the game week 25. But even if Timber misses game week 25, I would feel confident that he starts both games in game week 26 because of that gap between the two fixtures. And again, I tweeted this out as well the other day. So you can get a good idea of what the double game week actually looks like in kind of practice. So this weekend, we're going to have Arsenal against Sunderland. Then in the midweek, we're going to see Arsenal versus Brentford. And then at the weekend, so this is not this weekend, but next weekend, we're going to see Arsenal versus Wigan. And then a couple of days after that, in the midweek again, we're going to see Arsenal versus Wolves. So there is a full week between Brentford and Wolves. And I think if Timber is getting rested, rotated, whatever you want to call it, it's going to happen in Game Week 26. Now, it could also happen in Game Week 25. I think that's less likely, but still possible. But I would be really eyeing up, particularly, he's played midweek against Chelsea. He's played loads of games in a row. Game Week 25 maybe makes some sense to bench him, rest him, rotate him, Timber. But for Game Week 26, I cannot really see a reason to not play him. And I think he plays 27 as well, for the record, against Spurs. So 25 is summed out. The midweek in the FA Cup, I would be very surprised to see him play. But the double game week, I think Timber looks genuinely good. I think he looks genuinely good. Why do you still have Saka in? Because I haven't made my transfer yet. Pretty straightforward. I've not needed to make a transfer because there haven't been any price changes that have kind of impacted me. So I haven't made the move. But I will. And I shall. And maybe I should just do that now to avoid any questions, because I'm doing it. I'm kind of fully committed at this point because I've figured out plans and stuff. So let's lock this in. There we go, guys. Live transfer, live and direct. Rice coming in for Saka at long last. I'm going to confirm that. And this is how I'm looking for Game Week 25. Which I think is pretty strong, actually. I'm reasonably happy with this team. I think the biggest question marks for me are going to be Hill and Chow. But they're playing at home. I think they've got a good chance of DEFCON, each of them. They're good games to get DEFCON in. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But the team looks strong. The team looks nice. Me gusta. So there we have it. Would you bench boost now if all 4 on the bench have an easy fixture, or wait until double game week? I would wait till double game week to bench boost. I think the big thing about the bench boost this season, and why it's so is, in my opinion, going to be so powerful, is DEFCON essentially. So you're going to have players like Senesi or indeed Hill or Richards or Anderson. If any of these kind of cheap defenders who are typically on your bench have double game weeks, even if they don't get any clean sheets and they just get DEFCON in both games, a bench boost on a cheap defender on a double game week, a cheap DEFCON defender, could be 8 points per defender without doing anything. So say you've got 2 defenders on your bench, both of them get DEFCON in all of their games, so 2 DEFCONs for each, no clean sheets, only 1 goals conceded each, or something like that. That's 16 points on your bench boost from 2 players already, and that's without a single return. So that's what I would say there. Says, should answer as many questions as possible, mate. I could answer as many questions as possible, but it would mean that there's not very much detail going into the answers of many questions. I mean, we could try that if you want. We could try it. Okay, well, let's do it. I'm going to scroll through and I'm going to answer as many questions as possible. And we'll see if this makes for good content. I'm willing to try it. Tiago Ekatike, why do you have Mbermo? Because I like him. Enzo or Sarr? Sarr. Start Richards or Keane. Keane. Should I keep Semenyo and Mark Gill, change to Joao Pedro and Jude Hall? Don't know. Richards or Chow as my 3rd defender? Don't know. Maybe Richards. Someone please help me to play out of these 3. Question too long to answer quickly. Start Tiago Krupi. Start Tiago. Wish I still had Ekatike. Yeah, you should. He's good. Semenyo or Rogers? Probably Rogers long term. Senesi or Dewsbury Hall? Probably Senesi. Enzo or Sarr? That was already answered. -4 for Chow to Timber. Probably not. Benchless when in about 20 minutes. Richard or Chow is my third defender. Probably Richards. Play Gatike or Thiago. Probably Gatike. Do -4 to Palmer to Bruno. Yes. Actually, no. Don't do it. Fernandez and Senesi or Chalobah and Enzo. The first one. Fernandez and Senesi. O'Reilly to Timber from -4. No. Why do you still have Saka in? Because I haven't made the transfer yet. Fernandez and Senesi or Enzo and Chalobah, I don't know. There's a lot of questions that are really, really long that I don't really know how to answer. On the Gordon thing, I reckon he's back soon. All the comments are from Newcastle fans are calling him out for the fake news, as he can't be asked to play anymore when there were 3-0 down. Thoughts? I have no thoughts towards that, really. What are your thoughts on Super Mendy? I don't like him as a pick. Hi, mate. Start one, Tarkowski, Hill, or Goodmanson. Start Tarkowski, probably. Semenyo and Timber, or Mbeumo and Saliba. Semenyo and Timber, probably. Henderson for Crystal Palace is worth in goal. Probably not. He'll be cleaning Marmoush's boots. Who, Haaland? Maybe. Enzo or Sarr for a 3-week punt. How many times did that one person ask that same question? All right. What else we got? Cashel Goodmanson. Goodmanson. Pickford or Keller. Whatever. Either. Start Keller or Dravka, probably Dravka. Wilson Zumendi, no. Start Maino or Crib Jr. Crib Jr. It doesn't work, does it? It just doesn't work as FPL content. I answered a lot of questions. But it's not it's not entertaining, it's not useful, it's not there's no elaboration behind anything. And the chat clearly hates it. They don't want to listen to it. Sometimes you just got to accept that not all questions will be answered, but those that do will be answered in a nice amount of detail where you can actually maybe gain something from it or just find it interesting. I don't know. 6 or 7? I don't know. How many people do you think left the stream during that, like, 2 minutes? I don't know. Everyone except the person whose question is being answered hates it. Yeah, exactly. And there's only one person having the questions answered at any given moment, and it's so fast. Can you even recognize when it's your question being answered? I don't know. But hey, it was a bit of fun for a couple of minutes, wasn't it? Yeah, bench this. We'll do bench this in like 15 minutes time. And then we'll do loads of bench-related questions. Oh, there seems to be a lot of bench-related questions today. A lot of people have benching dilemmas. I feel like I'm the opposite. I have more players that I want to bench and not enough players that I want to play. Keep your chin up, mate. Yeah, don't worry. The chin is firmly up. Very firmly up. You answered my question, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, I didn't give any elaboration, so there's no elaborating. So no, of course it's unconvincing. Bambi says my bench is not good this week. I feel like I'm probably in a similar boat to you, Bambi. I'm not feeling super confident about my bench this week. Like Collins away against Newcastle is pretty much all I have. I mean, Alderete away against Arsenal is not great. Obi not even going to play. But like, when do you ever need to go 2 players deep on your bench? It's so rare. It's so rare that your team is in. You have like, it's only really like situations like Saka, where a player they have no injury issues whatsoever. You're fully aware of the situation, and there is no situation, and still somehow they pick up an injury in the warm up, and suddenly, you got an auto sub. If you're gonna get an auto sub, usually you probably have an idea that it might happen. Like you see you think one of your players is a little rotation risk, or even rotation risk players, they still usually come off the bench and get 1-pointers anyway. So unless a player is injured, and you usually know about that ahead of time, like it's very rare you get auto subs. I mean, I certainly very rarely get auto subs. And when I do not score points from them, let me tell you that. Simone says, is Foden a bad option or maybe a good differential? I would say I would lean towards bad option, I think. Yeah, I think I'd be done with Foden at this point. It's a bad fixture. We got lots of fixtures. We got some fixture congestion in the Premier League, so there's going to be rotation risk there as well. You know, there already has been with Foden. I think I would be looking to sell if possible. Do you think Reece James will start? I do not. I do not think Reece James will start. Apparently, he has a bit of an issue at the moment, so I would not be feeling too confident about him. Polio says, I think I have made the mistake of wildcarding. Could you please give us your personal plans on the chips and when to play them? Yeah, I mean, I can certainly tell you when I'm going to be playing my chips, because I think the only one I'm unsure about is where is it here? This one I'm looking for. The only one I'm unsure about is the triple captain, but I'm leaning towards playing that in Game Week 26, and I'll talk about that in the team selection video, but I'm also gonna make a TikTok slash Instagram reel about the triple captain situation. But I'm leaning towards playing it in Game Week 26 on Gabriel, only because I think there's too much uncertainty around a Game Week 36 triple captain. Because in my mind, Game Week 26 is a triple captain week. The other possible triple captain weeks are Game Week 36, if that ends up being a double. I think there's a chance that 35 or 37 could also be double game weeks as well. So we'll see. It's less likely, but it's certainly possible. 35, 37 could be doubles. 36 could be is more likely to be a double. But 26 is definitely a double. So 26 looks like a good opportunity. As for the other chips, so I'm looking to wildcard in Game Week 32. I'm looking to bench boost in 33. So basically, I'll bench boost in Game Week 32 to set up a really nice, really strong bench boost team for Game Week 33. And then a lot of the teams who have a double game week in 33 will not play full stop in Game Week 34. So a lot of the doublers, most of the doublers in 33 will be the same teams that blank in 34. So you're going to want to make a quick transition between 33 and 34. And if you're looking to bench boost in Game Week 33, that means your full squad, or most of your squad, is going to be double game week players, which means that most of your squad is not going to have a fixture in Game Week 34. So quick transition needed. That could be a wild card. It could be a free hit, depending on how you set this up. But yeah, for me, it makes the most sense to bench boost 33, free hit in 34. So in conclusion, triple captain, most likely 26, possibly 36. Wildcard 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34. That's my plan. And I think it is the most, excluding the triple captain, which I don't think is obvious. I think there are definitely different ways to play that one. I think the remainder of the chips, the wildcard 32, the bench boost 33, and the free hit 34, that makes, to me, by far the most sense as a strategy, to the extent where I'm not considering any other strategy. And that's unusual. Usually, I've got a couple of different strategies in mind that could potentially work. This season is a little different, and the way I kind of see things kind of playing out, I think this has got to be the way. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing. That's what I'll be doing pretty much. I mean, if you've already used the wild card, I still think that's okay. I think you can still do this same strategy if you've already used your wild card. You're just going to have to be a little bit more cautious around saving transfers, I guess, ready to maximize Game Week 33. So only if you've already wild carded, you basically need to only make transfers when strictly necessary. Because what you want to do is you want to have 5 free transfers in Game Week 32, use one of them to bring in a double Game Week player, and then in Game Week 33, you'll have 5 again. And then you're going to use all 5. And then you can free hit in Game Week 34. So I feel if you've already wildcarded, this strategy is still possible. It's slightly more difficult, and you do have to be a little bit more cautious around the moves that you're making, particularly in the short to medium term. Between now and Game Week 31, you basically can't change your team very much at all. And then the strategy is still possible. But if you've already used your free hit, that's when you're probably going to be in trouble. If you've already used your wildcard and your free hit before game week, If you use both your wildcard and your free hit before game week 32, you're pretty much screwed in terms of chip strategy. If you use both by the time game week 32 well, before the deadline hits, I guess. But hopefully most people can save at least one of those 2 chips for that by then. And then game week 34 is the tricky one. That's gonna be the blank game week that screws a lot of people. And I think there's a lot of there's gonna be a lot of FPL points to be gained. There's gonna be a lot of rank to be gained, because what a lot of people will do is they'll see, oh man, I have my Arsenal players and my Man City players. They're blanking in game week 31, and I'm tripled up on Arsenal. I'm tripled up on Man City. I've got some Crystal Palace players in. I've maybe got some Wolves players in as well. They'll look at game week 31 and they'll think, I'm gonna free hit this week, or I'm gonna wildcard this week, because that's how I'm gonna solve the situation. And then they'll get to game week 34, and instead of 4 teams blanking, it's 8 teams blanking, and then they'll just be completely screwed. So I think huge rank gains to be made in the period between game week 32 to 34. I think most engaged managers will be able to half their rank. At least. Depends what your rank is, I guess. But even if you feel like, I'm really struggling this season, I'm struggling to break into the top 1 million places, if you're ranked 1 million in game week 32 and you follow this chip strategy, I don't see why you wouldn't be ranked 500k by the end of game week 34. If you're ranked 100k, I don't see why you can't get to 50k over that 3 game week period. If you're at 200k, I don't see why you wouldn't be 100k after a 3 game week period. And that late on in the season is a difficult time to gain major rank, because the points gaps between ranks are a little larger. But I think there's going to be some big opportunities to gain, because it seems so clear to me that there is one clearly best chip strategy, and I very much doubt that enough people will be engaged or really nerdy enough to be thinking about these kind of things in that amount of detail. But there you go. Right, we got a super chat from Google Abroad, who says bench 1, Chow, Foden, Watkins, or Anderson. Definitely wouldn't bench Anderson. I think I would bench Foden. That's what I would do. Or ideally sell him. Jeremy says, I missed the variety of chip strategies. That was damn fun. And I agree with you. I mean, I wish I could see another chip strategy that I think would work. I mean, I've seen some people say, oh, what about, free hit in game week 33? Could that work? We never know for sure what will and won't work. But I see a lot of problems and holes in a game week 33 free hit strategy that just aren't there in a game week 34 free hit strategy. That's what I'll say there. Padra says, hi Dan, start Morgan, Rogers, or Daniel Munoz. You know what's crazy about that question and why it's when I was looking through the chat, it stuck up to me immediately? Because my name is Daniel, my wife's name is Morgan. So you're saying start Daniel or Morgan? Me or my wife? Who should we start? And as such, I'm going to do the kind thing and say start Morgan and bench Daniel. That makes sense right now. There we go. Conspiracy right now, Dan. You never come across my algorithm anymore. Really? You need to like videos. And that genuinely, I know it's obviously it's self-serving. I want people to like my videos, like my streams and stuff. But I think it genuinely it does help your algorithm to recommend you the same content if you are liking it. So if you click like on a piece of content, or just watch the content all the way through,
then it will be recommended to you again on the algorithm the next video. Whereas if you ignore a video on your algorithm, or you don't like it, it's less likely to appear. So I don't know. Maybe that will help. But yeah, no. I think the algorithm is pretty crazy right now. I think YouTube is genuinely doing a really good job of promoting a much wider range of content from smaller creators, from larger creators, and really trying to help the little guy in many respects. So yeah, it's nice in that respect. But the algorithm is a little tricky. Plus, there's just so much FPL content now. It's not like a few years ago. There's so many FPL channels. It's hard to stand out anymore. But, hopefully, we're still doing a pretty good job over here. There's certainly enough of you guys sticking around that I'm still happy, at least. Right. Anyway. Thoughts on Aronson as a differential? I just think there's too many good midfielders right now to go there. So that's my opinion. Michael says, "Hi Dan, apologies if already answered, but thoughts on Saka to Madueke for 2 weeks." We haven't actually spoken about Madueke today, to be fair, so I'm happy to do a little moment on him. So no, no is the short answer. One of the reasons is with Saka out, I don't think we expect Madueke to play every single game. I think he will be managed a little bit. He's already played against Chelsea. He already played against who did Arsenal play last week? I've forgotten already. Leeds. He's already played against Leeds. He's already played against Chelsea. Is he going to play Sunderland, Brentford, Wigan, Wolves, maybe even Spurs? I don't know if he starts every game in that period, because that's a lot of games. So, there's maybe one rest in there, maybe two. Then you've kind of got Trossard. FPL Vince, thank you very much for becoming a member of the channel. Then you've got Trossard and Martinelli, who are capable of taking some minutes on the wing. Maybe even Gabriel Jesus could take some minutes off the wing as well. You never know. Havertz maybe is a bit rogue. Eze maybe a bit rogue. But, there are other options, is what I'm saying. And even if Madueke is to start, is he starting 90 minutes? Probably not. Then we have Saka. Okay, when is Saka going to be back? Well, game week 27 looks like the most likely right now. But what if he's actually available for the second game in game week 26? So you get Madueke for 25, you get Madueke for the first game in 26, but actually he doesn't even play in the game week 26, not because he's rested with other players, but because Saka's back already, possibly. And then we come to game week 27, where we are expecting Saka to be back by that point, and you've guaranteed that you're going to have to spend another transfer on Madueke. So really, kind of spending 2 transfers to buy Madueke, because you know for a fact that you'll have to transfer him back out again. And soon as well. It's not like Rice, don't get me wrong, you're probably going to transfer him back out by 31 because he'll blank in 31. But you can keep Rice, if you have other issues to deal with immediately, you can still keep Rice for every game week up until then if you need to. Whereas Madueke, becomes a problem that needs addressing immediately. And if you also have like another injury in your team or something like that, then suddenly game week 27, you've got 2 issues that you need to deal with. And maybe only 1 transfer in which to resolve it. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not massively feeling Madueke, and there's a few reasons as to why. Hopefully that makes sense. Rice feels boring. I agree, Michael. Rice is boring, but yeah, sometimes boring is right. And I will, if you've watched me for a while, you will always know I will always try and find the interesting angle if there is one. Unfortunately, this time I'm not sure there is, but yeah, I guess we'll see. Tom Jr. says, "Saw you on the news, bro." This is news to me. I don't know. Could you please elaborate? Or maybe you're typing on the wrong in the wrong live chat. I don't know. That's probably the most likely thing that's happened here, because I don't think I've been in the news. Polius Scosby says, "Mate, keep up the great work. Cheers from Boston." Boston? Well, cheers right back to you, to Boston. Cody Blaney, thank you very much for becoming a member of the channel. Right. I think we're ready for a bench list, aren't we? A couple of chats first. We've got a super chat here from Jonathan who says -4 for Joao Pedro. No. I don't even need to read the rest of this message to know the answer is no, but I will anyway. -4 for Joao Pedro to cover for Semenyo forward, or Munoz for O'Reilly, so I don't have to play Mukiele, or if O'Reilly's bench. I want both in the future. So no, I don't. I would. No, pretty much I wouldn't take a -4 for any of those. I would rather play O'Reilly or Mukiele, even O'Reilly 1-pointer off the bench, than take a -4. So no is the answer. I don't think I would take a -4. I mean, you got to think about it. Is it worth 4 points? Would you rather have just an assuming it's like a 4-point auto sub? If things go wrong, then you're kind of up 4 points because you didn't take the -4 kind of thing. So really, you would need your replacement to outscore by 5 points, I guess, if you assume a 1-pointer from someone like O'Reilly or Mukiele. You need your replacement to score at least 5 points for it to reward you immediately. I don't know, man. I think I'm not feeling the Joao Pedro thing maybe as much as other people are. I don't think Semenyo needs covering. I think O'Reilly and Mukiele still have some use in the future. Yeah, I can't see it. I can't see the vision. I really can't. But anyway, let's go ahead and do the bench list. So I think you guys have been patient enough. Right, so let's add some players here. So where do you want to start? I've got a couple of players in there already. And I'm pretty much happy with that as well. Let me know which players you'd like to see in the bench list. I'm going to throw Thiago in here. Elliot Anderson in here as well. Elliot Anderson in there. Alderete was going to go right to the bottom with Mukiele. We'll put Mukiele slightly above. Esteve would be, for me, pretty low still. A super chat here from Jacob who says, Ciao, Krupi, Mane, Tarkovsky, rank them 1 to 4 this game week, please. Also, I like the mustache, my man. Handlebar mustache in the future, let's go champ. I don't think I'm capable of growing a handlebar mustache. It kind of only goes this far, unfortunately. But there you go. Thank you, at least. But anyway, my friend, let's have a look at these players. So, Ciao, Krupi, Mane, Tarkovsky. I mean, I can go ahead and probably put all of them on the bench list. So let's do that. I think that's probably the best way to do this. Because I can see a few other people are asking about similar players. So I think we put Tarkovsky here. We put Ciao. Tough one here. Or would I just try Watkins ahead of these guys? I think maybe I would try Watkins ahead of these guys. So maybe I'd try Watkins here. Okay. Bruno G, can he go any higher? Probably not. So we've got Ciao, we've got Tarkovsky. We need Krupi Jr. and Mane. So Krupi Jr. is probably not going to be a player to play, is he? Because you've got that rotation risk still. You've got that, well, maybe not rotation risk, but you're going to get early sub. He gets early subbed every game. So if he doesn't score from his one shot, actually, it's not even if he doesn't score from his one shot. You need to hope that he takes one shot in 60 minutes so he can get the goal. Because he will score it. He's so clinical. His ball striking is just phenomenal. But no, he's kind of a pretty high likelihood blank, isn't he? Kind of player. And as such, do you take a risk on him? Probably not, but maybe ahead of someone like the weaker defenders. So Creepy Jr. will put him there. Mane, Chelsea at home. It's not such a bad fixture, but you know, when you play for Wolves, it's pretty unlikely you're going to get attacking returns, right? So, let's see. Mane can go probably below Creepy Jr. Maybe. I mean, at least you're going to get Defcon for Richards and Esteve. I don't know. I'm going to put Mane here. He has set pieces as well, Mane, which is pretty nice. I'm going to put him there. Right, so we've got a super chat here that says, should I keep Cucurella? Yeah, I think for the next couple of weeks, Cucurella is fine to keep because the fixtures are good, and I think he will start. There's no injury issue there, is there? So, yeah, nice. And then we can just start filling up with some of the other players you guys are suggesting. Can I do Chalobah? No. Chalobah is a play. There's no questions around that one, really. Timber, no. I mean, really, are people really that worried about Timber this week? You play him. Maybe not ahead of Ekatike, to be fair. I do really like Ekatike. But you play Timber. Gahey, all right, now we're talking business. So Gahey would go pretty low for me. Probably, maybe even lower. Maybe bottom. Is that harsh? Didn't catch Wai Chow ahead of Richards. I think it's just better chance of a clean sheet is probably the obvious answer. I think Brentford at home is probably a better fixture than Brighton away, and I think Newcastle are probably a better defence than Crystal Palace are right now, probably. So, yeah, that's the reason there. Sell Bruno G to Anderson and bench Richards. Yeah, you know what? Yes, I quite like that. I quite like that. If it's for free, yeah. Lewis Hall can pretty much go right next to Chow. Should there be that much of a gap between them? That's the only question. Am I that confident? Maybe I'm not. Maybe we'll throw Szoboszlai ahead. And with the Defcon, are we being a bit harsh on Richards? Could we throw him at one more? Let's bring him a little closer together. Right, Senesi. So Senesi I like. Senesi I'd be definitely willing to put a little higher. It's not perfect, it's not ideal, but the Defcons that he gets is always very useful. And, yeah, I'm going to put Hill alongside Senesi. They're much of a muchness these days. Evan Nilsson against Aston Villa at home. Maybe here. Something like that. Nicole says, hi Dan, hope you're well. Triple United versus Spurs. Done. Nice, nice. That's just triple United attack, right, Nicole? Exciting stuff. Hope for a big scoring game then. Z the Gooner with a super chat here says, Bruno G, Cherky, and a weak bench. 2 playing defenders. 0 free transfers. 2.6 on the bench. Is it worth to go -4? For who? No. It's probably not worth going for a -4. I think Cherky will play. I think Bruno G has a good chance to play. The only way I would take him, you got 2.6 in the bank. The only way I would take a -4 is if you didn't have Bruno Fernandes. But again, could you do one Bruno G or Cherky to Bruno Fernandes? That would probably be worth a -4 because you could captain him. And then outside of that, is there an argument to say Rice? If you don't have Rice and you need to get that Arsenal triple up anyway, maybe that's worth a -4. And then so yeah, I take a -4 for Bruno Fernandes. I take a -4 for Rice. I would maybe take a -4 for Mbermo. Less likely, but still maybe. Wirtz, but no one else. I wouldn't take a -4 for Enzo or Anderson or anyone else. Palmer, no. Yeah, so it's literally just those 4 players. Bruno, yes. Rice, yes. And Burmo, yeah, maybe. Wirtz, we are very, very much on the edge of whether it's worth it or not at that point. So there we go. Those are some players I would take a -4 for. No one else, really. No one else, really. If Haaland doesn't start, what's the panic buy? There's no panic buys. Do not panic buy. Keep Haaland. If Haaland doesn't start, then Haaland is more likely to start the following game, not less likely. If Haaland doesn't start, he's rested in his most difficult game against Liverpool and then has good fixtures after that. Great, that's good news for Haaland, not bad news. It's bad news for Haaland in Game Week 25, but it's good news for Haaland in 26 because it means he's well rested for a better fixture. So there's no panic buy if Haaland doesn't start. But I think Haaland's going to start anyway, so I don't think we'd even have to cross that bridge. Juri Hassan says, start Rodgers, bench Krupi and Senesi for Rodon start. I don't think I'd bench Rodgers. So, yeah, start Rodgers, certainly ahead of Krupi and indeed ahead of Senesi. Rodon is interesting, and a few people do have Rodon, don't they? And they're thinking Forest at home, it's not a bad fixture. Leeds are okay. I'd maybe be a... The thing is, Rodon doesn't really get DEFCON, and I think that's the one thing that's putting me off him. I'm going to put Rodon not super high. I'm maybe going to put him here. And then that should be all of the players you mentioned. Hill is on there already. Virgil is a good one. Yeah, we haven't spoken about Virgil, have we? Someone asked Richards or Hill. Both of Richards and Hill are on the bench list, my friend. Virgil, okay. So Virgil is not going to go particularly high this week. Do I fancy him ahead of Richards? Tough. I kind of do. I kind of do. I think. Yeah, okay. We'll go there. Big £10 super chat here from Benjamin. Hopefully we can help you out here, Ben. Hi, Dan. Can you help me with your with my team, please? My team is Donnarumma, Chalobah, Saliba, Gabriel, Fernandez, Rodgers, Wilson, Semenyo, Thiago, Gerrard, Pedro, and Haaland. Is there any changes you would make? I mean, if you have Dubravka on your bench, I would maybe play Dubravka ahead of Donnarumma. Even if you have Darlow on your bench, I'd play Darlow ahead of Donnarumma as well. Chalobah, Saliba, Gabriel, great. You only have 2 Arsenal players. Donnarumma, Chalobah, Saliba, Gabriel, Fernandez, Rodgers, Wilson, Semenyo. The midfield looks in fairly good shape. Front line looks in fairly good shape. Is there an argument to sell Donnarumma to Raya and go triple Arsenal defence? Either that or sell your 5th midfielder to Rice. I don't know if that's affordable or not. Maybe Donnarumma to Raya? Because you need triple Arsenal for next game week with the double. And if you have free transfers, you may as well go 1 week earlier and grab that Sunderland fixture as well. Because that Sunderland fixture is good. Really good. So there you go, Benjamin. Hopefully those are a few possible solutions. Your priority now is to ensure that you have 3 Arsenal players for game week 26. If it's possible to improve your team by doing it 1 week early, then I would do that. So yeah, Rice in for your 5th midfielder. I wouldn't sell Bruno, Rodgers, Wilson, or Semenyo for Rice this week. I wouldn't do any of those. But if you have a 5th midfielder that you would be willing to sell to get Rice, then I would do that. And I would be willing to do Donnarumma to Raya as well. Even though it seems sideways, it isn't really. It's it gets you the 3rd Arsenal player, and you can just hide him on your bench in game week 31 when Arsenal have the blank. And play Dubravka. There we go. Right. Hopefully that was helpful. Cool. All right. There you have it. Chewy FPL says, I don't know how people have the mental capacity to watch a game owning triple defense. I did last season, and it might have been the most stressful game I've watched not involving my club. Yeah, I mean, even double defense is just... It's just painful. It's just painful, man. Just painful. The FPL boys say Burmo and Gabriel are the best captains for this week. Your take, Dan? I prefer Bruno Fernandes. But I don't think you were in the stream yet, Comedy Addict. But at the kind of front end of the stream, we spoke a little bit about captains, and I included both Burmo and Gabriel as part of that second tier of captains for this week, alongside who else did I say? I said Ekatike and maybe one other. It might not have been one. It might have just been Burmo, Gabriel, and Ekatike. Maybe I mentioned one other, but it certainly wasn't any Chelsea players. Haaland, who's always technically a captain option. But yeah, Bruno's the best. But yeah, I like them too. Who have you bought instead of Enzo, Chewy? You've bought Njai for the second time. You bought second Njai into your team somehow. Sell or keep Chow if I keep him, bench him, or Garner. We can throw Garner in the bench list for sure. I would play Garner ahead of Chow, if possible. Ahead of Tarkovsky as well, to be fair. Maybe even ahead of Thiago. That would be close. I'm gonna go here. Where's Wilson on the list? Wilson will go higher. You bought Esteval. That's brave. That is brave. That is very brave. So I'm going to put Wilson here. You know what I'm also going to do? I'm going to move Anderson up here. I'm going to put the Anderson next to his brother, Anderson. The Anderson brother, the Anderson twins. Next to each other. Kurt says, hi Dan, I'm new to the channel. I have to start one of Creeper Jr. or Richards. Please help. Well, welcome, first of all, Kurt. And let me tell you that what you see on screen is for you purposely. And for anyone else who is also new to the channel, if you haven't seen the bench list before, we probably should have done an explainer earlier, but we've got a list here of players who a lot of people are considering benching, and we've got them in an order, a start order. The players towards the top, I would be more willing to start. The players towards the bottom, I would be looking to bench. If you have two players, so in you know, what were your examples? Creeper Jr. and Richards. So you got Creeper Jr. and Richards. You need to figure out what my personal recommendation or my preference to start. You look for the two players on the list. You can see, okay, Creeper Jr. is down here and Richards is a little bit lower here. So given that Creeper Jr. is higher on the list, then that means that I personally prefer to play Creeper Jr. to Richards, and that is how we answer that. You may have seen similar bench lists on other YouTube channels. Let me assure you, this is the original. This is the original bench list, the first of its kind, and it's been running for years and years and years. But yes, there are other bench lists, but this is the OG. This is the OG. Right, what do we got here? Bazball FPL says, hi mate, started my own FPL channel last week. Would love any feedback you have. Yeah, man. Feel free to send me a DM, probably on Twitter or X, with your channel link, and I'll be happy to check it out for you, my friend. And welcome to the content creation community, my friend. Hopefully you're enjoying the creativity, the creation process so far. It's great fun, man. It's real good hobby. Ray Perry here says, Chelsea and Arsenal triple up with Mane on the bench, ready for a double game week with a bench boost for that. Forced to wildcard this week due to poor form. I'm not super keen on a bench boost next week, and I'm not super keen on a Chelsea triple up either. I think triple up on Arsenal, yes, definitely. Chelsea double up, I think, is fine. Pick one defender, one attacker that you like. Because after a couple of game weeks, Chelsea actually have some of the worst fixtures in the entire Premier League. So it's going to be a lot of forced transfers. And if you've wildcarded early, you're going to have blank game week 31 to contend with. You can have another blank game week in 34. You can have double game week 33. And these are going to, if you wildcarded early, these are going to, be real focuses of your transfers. You're going to need a lot of transfers for those. So you can't really afford to be bringing in players now who you're going to have to transfer in soon. Every player that you bring in kind of has to work for 5-6 game weeks. And triple Chelsea just do not work for more than 3 game weeks. In 4 game weeks time, 3 games time, whatever. Arguably every Chelsea player is a sell. Every Chelsea player it needs to be removed. So that's 3 transfers you're kind of banking in, if you like. So yeah, I wouldn't do that. Mane, maybe. I'm kind of a little on the fence with Mane. Kind of useful for the bench boost, but I'm also not really expecting any FPL returns from him on a bench boost. On the double game week. But yeah, don't think I bench boost. I think there's going to be better opportunities. Got another super chat here from Benjamin. Again, another £5. Benjamin, you need to stop spending all this money, my friend. As much as I appreciate it, 2 £5 super chats is too much, man. It's too much. But anyway, just signed Ray. I forgot to mention, Dan, that my bench is Ruffs, Lefay, Mukiele, Esteve. Okay, so yeah, none of them really playable. Esteve first on the bench, and yeah, I wouldn't take a -4 for your bench. I'll just have Esteve as your first bench option and see what happens next. I shall indeed say that. So yeah, it looks like you're sorted, Ben. Looks like you're sorted, my friend. No need to go any further than that. A few people asking about a Dewsbury Hall, so I think we can throw him on the bench list. Got Njai here. Carl wants Njai. Okay. So Dewsbury Hall, I wouldn't put super high, I don't think. He'd kind of be in the Sobslide territory, perhaps. Something like here. Maybe even that's a little generous. I don't know. And then Njai will go a little higher. Maybe in Evan Nilsson territory. Maybe a little higher. Let's throw him one above Evan Nilsson. There we go, if I can spell his name. Cool. Bowen on the bench? No. He's playing Burnley, man. You're not gonna bench Bowen. You're not gonna bench Bowen. Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin's genuinely an interesting one. I would start Calvert-Lewin for what it's worth. Probably ahead of a lot of these players, really. Here maybe. Pretty high. White Anderson over Wilson. Anderson is the one player I don't have who I'm worried about not having this week. I think it's a good opportunity for defensive contributions. I think it's a good opportunity for clean sheets against this Everton side. I think he's got a 11-pointer loading. Really, I do. I mean, it's not guaranteed or anything like that, but I think there's a very real possibility of an 11-pointer from Anderson this week. And that scares me a lot. And, Calvert-Lewin, he's above Calvert-Lewin, for example. Calvert-Lewin would require 2 goals or a goal and an assist to match that scoreline. And I don't think that's super likely. So, yeah, Anderson scares me this week. Like a bad week is 4 points for Anderson. So we're looking at a range really of 4 to 11 points for Anderson this week. It's not bad, is it? It's not bad at all. So, yeah, particularly for a defender, be right up there. Cody says, would you take a hit for Minter to Verts or Mbermo and play him instead of Gahey? Yeah, I think I would if you have no bench. Yeah, I would go for Mbermo before I went for Verts, I think. And then I think we will be revisiting Verts very soon though. He looks good. But I think Mbermo is probably a slightly higher priority because his good fixtures are kind of right now, aren't they? Yeah. Play Virgil or sell Mukiele for Chalobah? I'd play Virgil. Where would you put Van der Ven in the benching order? Oh, not very high. Maybe higher than Gahey, but that's about it. Very low. What would your criteria be for selling Haaland? Okay, my criteria would be anterior cruciate ligament injury. Yeah, if you got one of them, I would sell him, in fairness. Like, I have to admit it. I know. It's a bit controversial. But yeah, that would be my criteria to sell Haaland. Oliver said, Dan, last week you called me your horse. That's a hint. What? What does that sentence mean? To guess your rank, FPL Mate, if you guess my rank in a spread of 100, I'll let you choose my captain. Let's see if you remember me. Ah, a spread of 100. Wait. Okay. There's a sensible. Okay. Yeah. No, Oliver, I remember now. Yes, everything's coming back. In that case, the guess is easy. If it's a spread of 100, then my answer is 100. And then I get to pick your captain, Oliver. Oliver, let us know. What is your rank? So if it's between 1 and 200 in the world, I get to pick your captain. You're number 4 in the world. No way, dude. That's amazing. No way. Is that up from last week? I mean, even if it stayed the same, that's still incredible. I'm having a look right now. And we'll have a look at your team as well. And we'll see what looks like your captain. Have you already made moves, Oliver? I'm sure we're all dying to know. So number 4 FPL manager in the world is in the chat right now. All right. So 64 points. Okay, so you're not moved. That's fine. So one person went up. You caught up on a little bit on that guy. I think you've overtaken this guy, but yeah, they've moved around you. Lisa Snasis sells Chow for Timber or Chalobah. Have no one from Chelsea. Get a Timber if you haven't got your triple Arsenal. That's the priority. Way above Chelsea, in my opinion. Anyway, how bad is my memory? Maybe not great. I mean, it did come back to me. Go to my team. I did Watkins to who? Eligible. Oh, Evan Nilsson. Huh? And you captained Evan Nilsson. Okay. In my defense, did I say to go to Evan Nilsson? Maybe. But no, I don't think I would have, because I remember saying last week in the stream that I'm not massively keen on Evan Nilsson. I remember saying I wasn't massively keen on Evan Nilsson. And I definitely would not have said to captain him. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to take responsibility for that one, Oliver. I mean, I can't remember exactly what I said. Maybe I'm lying. Maybe I've forgotten. But certainly from memory, I remember talking in that chat saying exactly the same as I've said about Joao Pedro today, is that Wolves away is not actually that good of a fixture. But I probably also said that there aren't many other options in the forward position. But I certainly wouldn't have recommended captaining him. Right, it's fine. We're going to get back on the horse. Here. We need to get Bruno Fernandes. Oh, you advised me not to transfer in Evan Nilsson last week, Jeremy. Yeah, well, I'm sure I probably said the same thing to Oliver. All right, it's fine. This can be. You told me not to do Watkins to Evan Nilsson, and I did it anyway, and I captained him, and it did me dirty. Oh, okay, right. So, so I told you not to do something. You did it anyway. Oliver, stick with me this time, because we need to get you to win FPL. We need to get you to win FPL. Let me just go through these super chats first of all. We got one here from Temi Hats that says, I have Virgil, Chalobah, Gabriel, Mukiele, and Alderete. Should I sell any to bring in Hill, or should I roll my one free transfer? I would just play Virgil, Chalobah, Gabriel this week and roll. Yeah, bench Mukiele and Alderete if possible. If you have to play Mukiele, fine. But anyway, let's have a look at Oliver's team. So he sold Bruno G, brought in Rice, which I think is the right move. It would have been nice to get Bruno G in here. I'm choosing your captain then. How brave are you feeling, Oliver? I mean, you're feeling brave enough that you captained Elvin Nilsson last week. I would be looking primarily in your team at Gabriel and Bowen as captains. So I'm going to say... I'm going to say Bowen. You're feeling brave? Let's go Bowen then. Bowen against Burnley. I mean, it's not a bad one to take on. Penalty taking Bowen in form against Burnley. You know, are capable of getting defensive contribution points. I think your captain's going to be Bowen because you don't have Bruno. If you have Bruno, I would just say Bruno, but it is a shame you don't have Bruno. I can't really figure out a way of you doing it. You're doing Bowen captain, brother? Let's get it. All right, man. All right, man. I will be rooting for you. I will be thinking about you with your Bowen captain. And make sure to join the FPL Mate Classic League as well. Come on, man. I can see you're not in the FPL Mate Classic League. You're in Vocals, you're in Raptors. Leave them. Leave them. Join mine. Yeah. All right. Let's get it. Let's see what you can do. Cool. All right. Good luck, Oliver. Let's get back to everyone else. Let's get back to everyone else. We got about 28 minutes till 27 minutes until deadline. I'll dip again, haha, and thanks. I'll join it right away. Nice one, Oliver. Yeah, we've got 27 minutes until deadline, so make sure you guys are almost there with your thoughts. Kappa Jr. says bench Senesi or Krupa Jr. I would bench Krupa Jr. over Senesi. I believe that's what the bench list doth say. And thank you very much for the super sticker, Noah. Not sure if you meant to attach a message there. I think there's a limit on, you have to put in a certain amount of currency before it will allow you to type in a message. But we'll keep an eye out for you in the chat, Noah. Yash says, you said you were going to captain Gabriel in one of your videos. What happened? Oh, I did. I did captain Gabriel. When was that? It was like 2 game weeks ago. It went terribly. Yeah, I captained Gabriel in game week 23 for a 1-pointer against, who was it against? It was against Man United, just as they decided they were going to be a good football team. And then I've got him. I've got Gabriel as the vice captain right now. I said I'd captain Gabriel for this week. I never said that. I never said I'll be captain Gabriel this week. I said I maybe might have said that he's an option. I might have said I'm going to put him as a vice captain, but yeah, no, I've not really looked at Gabriel captain at all this game week. But maybe next week. Actually, who am I kidding? Definitely next week. Noah here says Turkey to rise from -4 was in Swiss francs. Oh, Swiss francs. I didn't even know. I mean, that makes sense. I was going to say, do they not use euros in Switzerland? But you know, in the quest for neutrality, I guess the common currency would not work. There we go. Yash, you must have watched an older video, man. I was never captaining Gabriel this week. Turkey to rise from -4. If you have nothing on your bench, then I guess yes. Yeah. It depends. It depends. If you can just kind of play someone else for this game week, then fine. But But generally, that improves your team and it sets you up for the double game week. So I'm not against that as a -4. I'm not against it. One of the few players I would take a -4 for. So, yeah, maybe. Maybe. Lavari says, "Hi Dan, greetings from Finland. Just wondering why all content creators prefer Thiago over Chow, even though Newcastle's been great at home this season." I mean, they have been at home, but they've also been error prone, and we've kind of seen that a lot. We've seen that a lot this season. So the fact that, like for example, Ekatike against Newcastle last week, we saw Ekatike get given a little bit of space as the striker and able to thrive in that kind of situation. Thiago might have a similar situation. Thiago, penalty taker. It's always difficult to bench a penalty taker. So yeah, I would, if I had Thiago, I would play him ahead of Chow. Yeah. But of course, Newcastle, they are better at home. That is a fact. And if they were playing a better fixture, maybe we'd be more bullish on Chow. But yeah, kind of fallen out of favour. Ruben says, "Is Pedro worth it over Ekatike?" In my opinion, no. I prefer Ekatike to Pedro, even this game week. Someone says, "Why no Chelsea players in this list?" It's a bench list, man. I mean, is anyone thinking about benching Chelsea players? I don't think they are. So I don't think they really need to go on here. True Killer says, "Best captain out of Enzo, Bowen, or Gabriel?" I would say probably Bowen. Maybe Gabriel, but probably Bowen. Where would you put Chalobah? You play Chalobah. There's no. I can't think of a single situation in which I wouldn't play Chalobah. I would say Chalobah is arguably the third best defender this week in the entire game, after Gabriel and Timber. For this week specifically, I mean. Rob says, "Sorry I missed the member stream, but thanks for the advice. Benched Evan Nilsson for Anderson." Nice. Yeah, I'm keen on Anderson this week. Bench one of Ekatike, Wilson, Semenyo, or Rice. Oh, that's tough. Is the answer Semenyo? Might be. Last minute pick, Hill or Rodon for the next 3 weeks. Hill. I'm team Hill, and I'll die on that hill. Who's your captain? My captain is going to be Bruno Fernandes. Pretty boring for me this week, I know. Saying that, I think in the overall player base, we'll see a lot of Haaland. We'll see a lot of Joao Pedro. Will Keane start? I think he has a good chance. Collins on the bench list? Sure. To my fellow Collins owners, I would not be super confident. I wouldn't be a confident Colin. But he's a DEFCON guy. I guess we put him above a Stev on that basis. Something like that. Shane says, "King for Anderson or play Krupi? Best mid under 7 million." Best mid under 7 million is probably Ismail Assar, now that we've seen him on penalties. Ismail Assar, 6.3 million, I believe. Yeah. If I had to bring in an under 7 million midfielder right now, I would go Sarr, and I would go for Sarr ahead of Enzo right now. If I didn't have Enzo already, right now I pick Sarr ahead of him. So yeah, there you go. Or of course, Anderson at Forest is great as well. It depends. If you want to save a lot of money and you feel like having that money in the bank is going to be useful for maybe a future move, then go Anderson. But if you're happy to spend the money, yeah, Ismail Assar, like it. Tati made the official FPL 11 for this week. What, the official FPL scout? Man. Can you add Ismail Assar? No. He's not a bench option. He's a transfer option. This is a bench list. People aren't. If you're buying Sarr, you're not benching him. Let's be 100% honest with ourselves. Bench Semenyo or Thiago? Does Semenyo need to go on this bench list? I think he maybe does. Is it controversial to say I prefer Thiago to Semenyo? Maybe it is, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Rob says, have you seen me and the official FPL scout in the same room? I haven't, to be fair, Rob. I haven't. Yeah, you might be onto something there. Wouldn't take the risk and start Keane over Richards. I'd be. I think I'd be willing to take the. I think I'd be willing to take the risk. The problem is Mikalenko's back in the Everton team, so is Branthwaite going to play left back again, or is he going to play as centre back? Is Keane going to drop to the bench? I don't know, man. It's so difficult. Keane is just a nightmare player at the moment, unfortunately. Ugh, yeah. Jamie is captaining Ibrahim Sangare. Wish me luck. Good luck, Jamie. I actually picked up Sangare for my Fantasy Gaming Hub team. If anyone plays that, picked him up today, this morning. I've been training him. Weprino says, have no bench cover. Stack Gu Dorgu. Worried about Timber starting. 0 free transfers. Would you take a hit to have cover or leave it and pray? Depends how much money you have in your bank. All of these players are going to have to go eventually anyway, with the maybe exception of Stack by game week 31 because of the blank game week. So I would be willing to take a -4, but only if I had money in the bank. Like, what could you do? You could do Dorgu to Anderson. You could do Dorgu to Hill. You could do. I can't unless you've got loads of money in the bank. I don't think there's anyone I'd be willing to sell Gu for. So it's Dorgu would probably be the play you'd go, but like, you have a full 11. Is it worth a -4? Would it be worth a hit? Would I take a hit? I don't think I would. I think if it was my FPL team, I don't think I'd take a hit. So I think on that basis, I have to give the recommendation that, unfortunately, boring answer, no hit, no transfer. No hit, no transfer. Fantasy Football Hub is talking to me to start Dubravka and Senesi and Estev and bench Petrovic. Yeah, I agree. I'd play Dubravka over Petrovic. And I'd play Senesi over Estev. If that makes sense. Stack is injured. He can't go on the bench list, surely. If you have Somerville, you 100% start him as well. Like, why else would you have Somerville but to start him? Remember, this is a bench list, not a transfer list. Virgil, Chow, Richards, Senesi, Vandenberg. Which 3 to play? The bench list does answer that, to be fair, but the answer is Chow, Senesi, Virgil. Struggling to give advice on Hincapié because I have no idea if he's going to start or not. Really struggling with that one there. So sorry, very, very difficult to give a judgment. I guess if you have him, you start him, but Vert's on the bench list. No, if you have Verts, you start him. He's not really a benchable guy. Chalobah's not going on the bench list. You play Chalobah in every situation. A few people have asked about benching Chalobah now. Honestly, I cannot think of a reason to bench Chalobah. I really can't. Like, he's like, I'll put him on because people are asking the question, but I can't think of a world in which I would bench Chalobah this week if I had him. Crazy stuff. He's a good pick this week. He really is. $16 minutes to deadline, by the way, guys. So if you are making transfers, make sure you're beginning to thinking about locking them in. Don't really want to leave them to the last 5 minutes just in case there's any website errors or anything like that. Oblivious Red says, hi Dan, whom should I bring in? Timber for Collins or Enzo for Tavernier, or just roll and risk pricing out? I mean, I'm struggling with Enzo. I feel like if I didn't have Enzo in my team already, I don't think I'd buy him. Timber in for Collins, I would do, Timber I would do in for Collins, so I like that one, not the Enzo for Tavernier move. We'll revisit that one next week, maybe. Kagan says, looking to next week, any interest in buying Mane? Not really. No, not really, my friend. I think I'm probably you're even in the double game week, you're probably looking at a 4-pointer from him. So, in that sense, I think we could probably do better. We've got Zacharias here says, my defense has Gabriel Senesi, Virgil Chow. Who do I leave out? Probably Virgil. Ruben says Wilson or Joao to start. Oh, if you have Joao Pedro, you absolutely start him ahead of Wilson. You absolutely start him. Yeah, that would be a pretty easy one. Your thoughts on triple captain Gabriel? I'm going to talk about it. Yeah, you quintuple Arsenal defense is crazy, by the way, Rob. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it properly tomorrow. Well, I'm going to do, I think, a short form video tomorrow. And then in my team selection video, I'll talk a little further around him, which might be Tuesday. No, Monday. Maybe Monday or Tuesday. But yes, if you follow me on TikTok or Instagram, then there will be a video about Gabriel triple captain on there and what your other options are and kind of what the deal is with that one. Thoughts on O'Reilly, likely to start and do 90? I think he does start. I do think he does start. I don't know if he does 90, but I think he does 60. But is that useful against Liverpool? Not sure. O'Reilly on the bench list. Oh, yeah, I mean, we could definitely put him on. He'd go low, for what it's worth. Arguably, he'd go right at the bottom. Is that harsh? You're probably not looking to play O'Reilly this week, are you? Let's be real. Adler Fay, congratulations. You've identified the only player that I would put lower than O'Reilly. Richards is already on the bench list. Patrick Cash on the bench list. Not really particularly high. Below Virgil, below Richards, probably below Collins. Somewhere similar to a Stev, maybe? Let's go here. I think I would arguably play Mane ahead of him. Nah, it doesn't feel right. Yeah, let's go there. Have we done the Senson bit yet? No, we haven't. Nobody's asked for me to identify between Anderson and Anderson. So I haven't needed to. I think people are starting to understand the difference, which is amazing. And most people understood anyway. Anderson for Collins. No, probably not. Foden? Do people still have Foden? Munoz is the other player mentioned there. Zacharias, I already answered your question, my friend. And I believe I said Virgil. Where's the Toyn cost gone? I don't know. It's been a while, hasn't it? There's been nothing worth Toyn costing. Right, Martinez in goal. Maybe next to Pope. We'll put him next to the Pope. And who else? We said Munoz and we said Foden. I feel like you can put Munoz reasonably high. If you have him, you've probably got him here. This is the last player on the bench list because the text is just getting too small. No one's going to be able to read this. Foden was the other player I said. I would be putting Foden pretty low. I don't know. Like, maybe, is this harsh? Is that harsh? I don't know. It's just that risk of a 1-pointer. It's just not worth it, is it?
It's harsh, but it's causing too much pain. Is that Foden? Is Verts a play? Yeah, absolutely. Right, no more players on the bench there, surely, because this text is barely legible anymore. The over 60s in the chat are struggling. Sorry to single you out, but I already know that you guys are struggling to read this, and I can only apologize. Blame the people in the chat. Blame the people in the chat being too keen to get every differential player on the bench list. I can do no more. I can do no more. People talking about benching Haaland is crazy, by the way. Broski, you forgot Palmer. If you own Palmer, 10.5 million, why are you thinking about benching him, man? Come on. Be realistic. Ian with a member chat says, "Hi Dan, I'm late to the stream. Any update on Timber, Watkins, and Haaland's fitness?" Timber's apparently fine. Watkins is going to be in the squad. Haaland, there's no fitness issues. There's no issues with Haaland. People, I think, are reading into the comments about Haaland too much. I don't think there's any news there. Few people are saying they are struggling. Razor had to move me to the big screen to read the text. This is why we have to chill with the bench list a little bit. We have to chill with it a bit. I can only apologise. O'Reilly to Chalobah for -4? No, Leon. There were comments on Haaland. I was just going on form. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, no. There's no injury issue. Why is Thiago so high? People have changed their mind on Thiago so much. He's still a penalty taker. He's still a striker for a decent Brentford side. Like Thiago will change the opinions on him very, very quickly, just like he did before. He will do it again. And all of the comments about, why is Thiago high? Why are you playing Thiago? I mean, I don't even have Thiago, but I would play him if I had him, probably. All those comments are going to quickly dry up in a few weeks' time, I think. You can zoom in on. Can you? What? On your phone? On a YouTube video? I did not know that. Oh my god! I didn't even realize. I just tried this. You can zoom in on a YouTube video. That's what? I never knew that. I mean, it looks terrible, but I mean, it works. Wow, there we go. That is very much news to me. That is very much news to me. Right, we are getting towards deadline, guys. Who's your differential of the week? Differential of the week. What about Madueke? Madueke makes the most sense, right? We know he's going to play. Dan is a YouTube veteran. He didn't know you can zoom. Yeah. Well, I mean, in fairness, I don't really watch YouTube on my mobile phone, like ever. There's certainly as a YouTube veteran, and I really am a YouTube veteran. I've honestly, I've probably been making YouTube videos for as long as some people in this chat have been alive, which is crazy. Rob says, finally, I can just have Dan's face on my deadline stream. Is that what you want? Can't we just do this? If you want that, we can just do this. Not needed. Not needed. Right. Do you feel Timber will start? I do. If I had to guess, I would say it's more likely that Timber starts than doesn't start. But I mean, I'm not 100% convinced. Why is DWH quite low? Who's DWH? Dewsbury Hall? Why is he quite low? Doesn't really get defensive contributions. Doesn't get attacking returns that often. Everton not looking particularly strong in attack right now. Playing away from home.
No penalties. I don't know, a few reasons. Vidat says Joao Pedro captain's thoughts. I mean, he probably wouldn't make my top 5, 6, 7 captains for this game week. So no, it's not something I would do. I guess some people like it, but I'm not one of those people. So that's what my thoughts are on Joao Pedro. I think Wolves are particularly away from home, is a harder game than it looks when judging on the Premier League table. I think there are better options. And you've got to think more about not just about the fixture and the difficulty of the fixture, but also like, how is that game realistically going to play out? I don't know. Is Joao Pedro going to get much space? Zishan says, bro, please reply. I've asked 50 times, Lacroix, Van Hecke, or Bruno G, which one to play? Asked 50 times. That's quite a lot of times. I'm so sorry I've not replied to you. 50 times, crazy. Rohit says, Mbermo captaincy shout. I'd certainly put Mbermo above Joao Pedro. Yeah. Zishan, I would play maybe Lacroix out of, would I? No, I'd play Van Hecke. Probably. I don't know which one I'd play. Honestly, I don't know out of those players. You don't know if Bruno G is going to be available. Lacroix possibly get DEFCON, so that's nice. Van Hecke maybe won't as much. But I'm not expecting a clean sheet for Lacroix. I honestly don't know. It's a 3-way coin toss. I'm struggling with that one. I'm really struggling with that. I don't know. Is there a 3-way coin? If so, use that. And sorry for trolling you, but I wish I had a clear answer on that. What does Instinct say? If this is my team, Instinct. We've only got like 2 minutes till deadline. Instinct says Lacroix. Instinct says Lacroix, but I have no idea if that's right. I might ask a robot. See what their projected points are. Okay, so if you give me 1 second. Oh, it reckons Van Hecke. All right, play Van Hecke. There you go. Right, we are super close to the deadline. Play Van Hecke is the answer. We hopefully have all of the other bench-related questions sorted on the bench list. If you do want to just keep the bench list on screen for the last minute for whatever reason, because you're still making changes, crazy, then pause, take a screenshot, whatever. But I should probably, for the final minutes of the stream, put my team on screen, because otherwise the show team gang are not going to be very happy with me. So this is what I am running with. I can see the show team gang in the chat already. We're almost at deadline. I've made my transfer, Saka to Rice. Did that earlier in the stream. I've got Bruno captain, Gabriel vice captain. We've got Collins on the bench with Alderete and Obi. Dubravka on the bench over Raya. We are ready to go. We are ready to go. The attack looks great in my team, in my opinion. My defense, Raya, Gabriel, great. Hill, Chow, who knows? Who knows what will happen? But I'll be here to find out. I'm excited. We have got 40 seconds less than until deadline. We are really, really running out of time at this point. Really running out of time. So get those teams locked in. Get your team saved. Get your captain done. No more transfers now. The time has stopped. This time has ended. You run out of time. You run out of time. And you know what? Hang on. We'll just get to the deadline and we'll go from there. We'll go from there. Zishan is ready to go. Max is locked. Rob's asking about duck or chicken for tea. Always chicken. Samval's making Arsenal scoreline predictions. Yo Yabs is still asking Tarkovsky or Richardson. Who's Richardson? And the FPL deadline is passed. there we go. Game week 25. We are ready to go. Right, is it worth sticking around? So, by the way, first of all, is everyone ready? Is everyone feeling confident? Are we happy with our captains? Let's check out the captain poll. Are we happy? Are we ready? Are we raring to go? That's what I want to know. The captain poll final answers were Bruno Fernandes 74%, Joao Pedro 11%, Gabriel 9%, and Haaland just 6%. Crazy. We got a random deadline question from Ian. That's a post-deadline question that says, do people still have house phones? Do those even exist anymore? I can tell you, Ian, I moved out from my mum's house 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 9. And I have not once owned a house phone during that time. So there are people who own a house phone. I don't know if they use them very often. I think my nan still calls people on the house phone. And that's about it. Nans and people trying to sell you stuff are the two categories of people who use house phones. So there we go. Those are the people. What phone does Pep call you on? My mobile phone, of course. What do you mean? Pep Guardiola calls me. When he calls me on my modern. Have you seen these? These modern mobile phones. What? They're crazy good. Because they're literally portable. You don't have to. They don't attach to a wire to your wall or anything. They're new. They're new in. If it's the 1980s at least, they're new in, and works the same as a telephone, but it's mobile. You plug it into your car, charge it or something. Oh. Is it electrical supply? I wasn't around in the 80s. Scammers also use them. There you go. Another category of people who use landline phones. That phone was in Wall Street. No, it wasn't. It was in my bedroom the whole time. Bedroom? Is this my bedroom? This isn't my bedroom. I don't sleep in here. I probably could sleep in here, but I don't. There's not even a bed in here. Why don't I call it my bed? My bedroom. Guess it is technically a bedroom. It's the spare bedroom. Max says, I remember learning from last season you wanted to be a bit more risk averse. Feel you've implemented your lessons from last season. I think I like taking risks a lot in FPL, and I do like it. And I think what I've learned is to try and be a little smarter in the way I'm taking risks. So, for example, if you look at my team, what are the risks that I'm taking? Okay, I'm picking data-backed players maybe a little bit earlier, maybe 1 or 2 weeks earlier than other people. So I bought maybe Mbermo in a little early. I bought Enzo in maybe a little early. I've kept Anderson in the whole time. Anderson is a risky, differential, whatever player, but he's kind of boring and not really risky. So I don't think it's risky that I want to play. It's differential. I like to play a differential game. So I often buy players who are low owned, or particularly at the time they're low owned, and then people often get in on them. I bought Chow really early. I think he was under 1% when I first got him in. Hill was under 1% when I got him in last week. So I'm trying to take differential players who aren't necessarily risky players, if that makes sense. So I can still play differential. Collins as well was like 2% owned, 1.5% owned when I bought him in, something like that. So I'm buying players who I see something in that aren't necessarily risky, but are differential. So I'm able to play a differential game without necessarily taking a huge amount of risks. I don't know. So yeah, I feel like certainly this season is going better for me than the last couple of seasons. I've had 2 terrible seasons in a row. Yeah, Rob, Tatty would be an example of a risky differential, not a sensible differential, a risky differential. So I don't know. Also, captains, whenever there's an opportunity to go for a differential captain, I'll usually take it. you not think ownership goes up after people watch your videos? Not really. Not really. I'm not gonna be overrating my influence here or anything like that. Yeah, probably not. Maybe a tiny, we're talking about a few thousand people, which it maybe will take some transfer advice. And, often when I buy differentials, people don't go for them. People don't want to follow me down those paths because they kind of would prefer to go for the slightly more popular options, which is fine too. And I don't think I'm convincing enough. If I was coming off the back of my 243rd finish, then I think people would maybe be more convinced when I suggest a differential. Now they're probably like, oh, here we go again. So I don't think I can convince people on differentials maybe as easily as I would have been able to previously. But yeah. Going for sensible, high floor, high ceiling differential players. Well, high floor differential players. Some have high ceilings as well, but most of them have high floors, which is something I like. And just playing a long game. I think you're underestimating the lazy viewers that will just copy. Yeah, and there will be, a couple hundred people who will copy my team verbatim every week, or at least as much as they can, because they'll often be like last minute deadline changes, or I make a move earlier in the week for the purpose of price changes, and it prices other people out. So it's actually surprisingly difficult. But Josh says, "Yo, Dad, I'm wondering where you get your football shirts from." Everywhere, man, everywhere. Like, there's no lots from classic football shirts, although they're not particularly good value for money. Gifts like birthdays, Christmases. If a family member goes on holiday, they'll often buy me a football shirt because they know I collect them. Yeah, or like directly from like Nike or Adidas or Sports Direct. Anywhere, man. Anywhere I can find them for a good price. Anywhere I can find them. Is it worth waiting for the team news for Leeds versus Nottingham Forest? Does anyone care? You need a Benfica shirt? You know what? Maybe I do need a Benfica shirt. I need to get some Portuguese shirts. I haven't even got a Portugal national team shirt. I need to get that for the World Cup this year. I wouldn't mind getting a Portuguese club shirt as well. Should it be Benfica? Not Porto? Not Sporting? I don't think I'd go Sporting. I think my favourite Portuguese team is probably Porto, though, not Benfica. I'm totally honest. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Let's you can send me one, Joao Neves. What size? What size? I really do need to open up a PO box. People often will offer to send me football shirts, like through YouTube and stuff. And I would love to see what you guys send me. But my issue is I don't know how comfortable I feel accepting gifts from people. Does that make sense? I would love to I'd love to receive more football shirts. Of course I would, but it doesn't feel right to take. You should do a stream. I mean, yeah, if I was to do I thought about doing some second channel football shirt content of some variety, because I do have some interesting football shirts. But yeah, maybe another time. But yeah, I think we're gonna end the stream now, because even though we could wait for Leeds versus Nottingham Forest team news, isn't accepting a gift any different to super chat? Yeah, but I can't. I can give something back with a super chat. I can like reply. I can talk. I can feel like I can have an instant impact back. I feel like I'm at least maybe somewhat earning it. Even that's debatable. But receiving a full-on gift is just like, I don't know. It would mean people could see the top they bought in the pods. That's true, and maybe people would get a kick out of that. But I mean, I don't know. That feels arrogant. I don't know. I'll think about it. Maybe if I'll do it. I'll for 1 month only. I'll open up a PO box, and if people want to send stuff, then we can, and I'll encourage people to write messages and stuff that I can read out or whatever. But Yes. We're gonna leave the double shirts with Dan akin to fun with flags. It could be. It could be. What would it be? Joy with jerseys. Shirts and giggles. What about shirts and giggles? Anyway, right. I'm trying to go. Yeah, I'm meeting a friend tonight. So yeah, it'll be I don't know when I'm gonna go. I need to have a shower because I've been cooking in a football shirt for over an hour in the stream and how sorry, over 2 hours. 2.5 hours pretty much. But yeah, guys, appreciate you guys today. Thank you for the super chats, the conversation, the FPL stuff. Good luck this game week. Good luck. Enjoy it and prepare for more FPL content and for more FPL decision making because the next deadline is on Tuesday. So we've got to be ready for it. Cheers, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck this game week, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.